Hello everyone, I'm Julia and this is a short video about the latest changes to the Planet 4 consent mechanism. So we had a test to investigate the latest changes to privacy legislations around the world and make recommendations of whether we needed to change anything on the Planet 4 websites. To start with a background of this discussion, the last review that we did was in 2019 when we partnered up with an external agency to review the solution that we had and also propose new ways of managing users' preferences regarding privacy and cookies on the websites. The first solution that we had was the enforced cookies policy, and this was basically blocking Google Tag Manager from running on the pages before the user gave consent on the cookies bar. The issue with this solution is that it was way too strict because it was blocking 95% of the traffic data. Basically, the user had to consent on the cookies bar and also visit a second page so the Google Tag Manager could run, and also Google Analytics. So we came up with another solution that would actually fire the Google Tag Manager container in all of the pages, but would actually block or allow certain tags to run based on the user's preferences. So we implemented two first-party cookies, the Greenpeace and the no-track one, that would send the user preferences to the Google Tag Manager, and then we would control using manual triggers. So basically, that solution allowed us to decide which types of tags and services we would want to run at which point. Also, it's important to highlight that on the Greenpeace International website, we are actually tracking users anonymously using Google Analytics and Hotjar before explicit consent. So basically, the Google Analytics cookies are being placed right now before the user even interacts with the cookies bar. Back then, this decision was based on the external firm evaluation of the legal risk, and we also followed certain measures to ensure that this risk was minimized, such as anonymizing IPs and blocking these companies from collecting data for advertising purposes. But it's important to remind ourselves that legislations have been changing quite fast, and what was acceptable in 2019 is no longer ethical. And we also have an ethical obligation towards our supporters, and this means avoiding the unnecessary fingerprinting of them with third-party companies such as Google and Facebook, and also honoring their choice by requiring explicit consent before placing any type of cookie, including the analytics ones. Also, in the light of the GDPR and also the e-privacy legislations, we need to receive users' consent before we use any cookies, except of course the strictly necessary ones, which are the first parties, but also in this case we must require explicit consent before analytics cookies. Secondly, we need to allow them to use our services even if they refuse any type of consent. We need to make easier for them to withdraw consent as it was for them to give it in the first place. And we need to provide accurate and specific information about the data that each one of the cookies are tracking and also its purposes before consent is received. Based on this review, we came up with different recommendations and also an action plan to change both back-end functionalities and also front-end designs. The first one would be to make clear distinctions between the necessary cookies, the analytical ones, and the marketing ones, especially because we can't consider analytical as necessary cookies anymore. Secondly, we wanted to implement Google's consent mode, which is a smarter and easy way to manage user consent from Google Tag Manager. We also needed to review the privacy page policy to make sure that these changes are being reflected. And we also wanted to disable the enforced cookies policy functionality. Basically, because using Google's consent mode, we can actually prevent any tag from running and any cookie from being placed on the user's browsers. So we can actually fire Google Tag Manager but avoid any cookie being placed because of this consent mode. And we will also share with you tutorials and documentations of how you can apply that in your website. Next, we wanted to try new designs to optimize the cookies bar and make sure that we are improving the conversion rate of it. And at the moment, we are trying out a new solution on the GPI website, and we'll also share with you the results once we have them. And the next step would actually be to move the cookie settings from the privacy page to inside the cookies bar. So the users could choose which types of cookies they want to allow or not from within the same page. So that is also a solution that we are investigating how we want to test before implementing. So thank you. We will share with you more documentations and more materials if you want to dig deeper into each one of these steps. Thank you.